Okay, so I am back. This is awesome. Guys, it has been nearly a month. I took the time off to like rest and reflect. I actually didn't even do any Blender in the meantime. So I did this in like 12 minutes back in about 2 hours ago, trying to get back to normal, back to sculpting, and get back to using Blender again, which is something that I haven't done in a while. Nearly a month. And as you can see, there are some new tools because Blender updated to Blender 2.8 to 2.83.2. So yeah, so we're back with Blender, and it's great and it's wonderful. And this is not what we're sculpting. We are going to be sculpting Paris today, the Pokemon Paris, and then probably Parasect, depending on how long it takes us to do this little insect versus how long we are live. So I guess with that said, let's go ahead and start up a new general, because we're going to be modeling some of this and we're going to be sculpting some of it, because the way Paris works, it's got some mushrooms on its back, but it's not exactly what you would expect, or it's not exactly all sculpted, I guess is what I'm trying to say, but it's been a while and my brain isn't quite working. The Warrior, welcome to the stream, dude. Thanks, I'm glad you love my work. Let me just rearrange some of my windows here. This way I can better see the comments, and I have my reference image off to the side. So let's go ahead. I think we should get started with the mushrooms that sit on Paris's back. He's got these two little like red Mario mushrooms. So let's go ahead and get started with that. But I'm not going to delete this cube. We're simply going to hide it. We'll come back to the cube. So I'm going to add in a cylinder here. This will form the base of our mushroom. And yeah, I guess at that point we can just kind of get into it. So let's jump over to modeling, switch over to face select. Let me turn on screencast keys, or shortcut VR. How is my music mic level? I know that I've struggled with that in the past, and it's been a month, and I don't want some settings to accidentally change. So if you can hear everything fine, that's wonderful and great. And if it's a struggle, let me know. I'll turn the music down a little bit. Okay, so we grab face select here, and the story behind Paris is that it's got these two mushrooms growing on its back, and then eventually those two mushrooms fuse into a single mushroom, at which point, you know, the entire Pokemon is essentially The Last of Us. So let's do this. We're gonna put a slight bevel on it here, and then we'll bring up the operator panel and play around with this, just increasing the segments a little bit, and then maybe dropping that offset down. So that'll give us a little bit of a rounded thing, like it's coming out of the character. And even though we won't see this, I'll just push that in a little bit, so that way we know it's gonna have that popping out effect, is what I'm hoping for. So with that, then we can go ahead and scale this down. Look at this from the front. Instead of doing that, let's go ahead and do this. We'll move it up 1 on the z-axis, and we'll add in some additional loop cuts here. Can't scroll with a stylus. There we go. Okay. So now we can get this and turn on proportional editing. Zoom out a bit. Here. Up. And we can go ahead and scale this in. Maybe something like that. And then let's switch to ring select, grab that, and scale this out, but I don't want it to affect. There we go. It'll look like a mushroom, I think, when we get there. I'm gonna go ahead and shade it smooth. There we go. Hey, Max Matthews, welcome to the stream. How you doing? Smokey da Gamma. I'm doing all right, man. I'm doing all right. How are you? All right, I think that is roughly mushroom shape. So now let's just go ahead and extrude, leave it in place, turn off proportional editing, and scale this sucker out. And then we'll move it up just a bit so that the faces aren't laying directly on top of each other here. You're doing all right. You sculpted 2 hours earlier. Then did some digital inking in Clip Studio Paint. That's wonderful. That's awesome. That is more art than I have done in the last month. I took I took a month off, and the only time I jumped into Blender over the last month was like 3 hours ago, when I sculpted something in 12 minutes. And I was like, yep, all right, I'm good for a stream tonight. So this is me shaking off the rust of a month of resting and reading a ton of light novels. Will I use a toon shader for it? Warrior, no. Chances are when I'm finally finished with the model, I don't know if I'm even gonna go further than just sculpting it, just to like knock the rust off. But if I were to go further, I would hand paint it. I'm not gonna use a toon shader. I don't play around with shaders very much. I don't actually play around with nodes, and couldn't tell you why that is, but most of my experience is with like dropping these things over into Unity, so I don't worry about shading them or really playing around with the materials that Blender has to offer. It's just not something I've had to work a lot with. So you could say I just don't know anything about it, which is the short answer, which is why I'm not doing it. There's a lot that I have to learn. Most of my stuff is, like I said, for game dev. So sculpting, retopology, modeling, texturing. That's it for what I've done. Not a whole lot of animation, not a whole lot of rendering. So Smokey, you just moved, used up some savings to upgrade the PC. Nice. And get a Wacom tablet. Very nice. All in the last 3 weeks. Oof, your wallet must be hurting. You haven't done much art in the last 6 months, so you're trying to get back into it. Dude, that's awesome. Yeah, I realized recently that I need to learn to draw. But I also realized that I don't want to put in the time to learn to draw. So, yeah, that's a thing. All right, so here's what we'll do. We'll take this all the way up here. And then I think we'll just kind of repeat that process that we did a little bit of. So add in some loop cuts, something like that. Leave it in place. Turn on proportional editing, grab this face here, and scale this down. And then also, let's move it down on the Z-axis. I think maybe that. And then just this edge. Puff that out a little bit. And then we don't want it to be this like rough edge here. So I could add in a loop cut here. I think that's what I'll do. So and then we'll just move it up, turn off proportional editing, and then come in here, bevel that out a bit. Can I clamp overlap? I can, which is nice. And then we'll just take that all the way up there. There we go. Cool. That thing is on. Sorry, let me adjust where that thing is. Let me move this over. There you go. Jan Limpecki, I hope I said that right, but there you go. So now it's on. My microphone was hiding it. My apologies. That's annoying, isn't it? Okay. Just I actually over the last month I like reset up my office. I found out I'm working from home for the rest of the year. So I like bought a new desk and like switched sides of the office, and so we're just like tweaking things currently again. So, Smokey, you were a tattoo artist and illustrator for about 15 years. Wow. You're in a kitchen now, but you've been playing with Blender since it was 2.43. Dang, that's a long time ago. Long time ago. And Max, you're trying to get better at backgrounds. Are you, Max, are you the one that's posting the hand-drawn backgrounds in the Discord? Gotta be honest, I don't know, but your icon, your logo, profile picture, that looks similar to what I've seen in the Discord. So, okay. Cool. Dude, I've been loving your backgrounds. They've been pretty good. And Lucy's been throwing out some solid advice that by the time I actually get into drawing, I might be good at it. I might know what I'm doing. All right. So I also don't want that to be super there. Let's take this and you know what? Instead of doing that, let's just hit GG and move it along the wall there. There we go. That's fine. And then I feel like this should just go up into the model a little bit further. And there we go. We kind of have a mushroom. And then I guess we can go ahead and select everything, clean up, and merge by distance, which is great. There we go. Oh, dude, I got skill to share the other week for a year. Dude, so I'm following you now. Well, thanks. Hey, Vartan, welcome to the stream. Thanks. You got me into sculpting. Dude, that's awesome. Any idea when I'll finish the character design series? When it's actually going to be completely finished? No, but when the original pieces will be finished, like the last two things we still have to create for the character series are the sword belt and like attaching that kind of to the character, and then the boots. And that's all that has to be done to finish making the character. But the character course itself will then get into retopology of the entire character, and then, you know, the texturing and all of that. So part one of the course will be finished and probably by the end, I want to say by the end of August. Yeah, because we're in July right now. So by the end of August, we'll get at least those two videos done and finished. We'll be getting back into weekly live streams, so we'll be doing that. But then as far as when the entire thing will be done and when I start the phase 2 on retopology, I have zero clue, because the last thing I want to do is put up a video on like how to do face topology when I struggle with face topology so hard. So it's a little bit more nuanced answer than you were probably looking for, but that's what I got for you. Mr. Schnips, or Mish his nips. Mr. Schnips, yes, okay. Thank you for putting a capital M and lowercase r. Mr. Schnips, thanks for following, I appreciate it. So Vartan, I hope that answered your question. So I'm working on it. I'm getting back into it. I actually took the next like tomorrow is my Friday. So I actually took the next like 5 days off to work on Blender courses and a new Skillshare course, and so I'm gonna be doing a lot of recording the next couple of days. All right, so I think we have our mushroom done. Good. All right, now we can go ahead and hide the mushroom, and we can pull back. Well, let's not just hide the mushroom. Let's just go into edit mode here, look at this from the front, and make the point of origin the very bottom. So we can hide that cube again, zoom in here, and then I just want to put the point of origin at the very bottom of our mushroom. So that way, when we move the thing around, oh, that's okay. Yeah, forgot what button that was. So now when we rotate the thing, it's going to rotate based on the bottom. So there we go. So we can actually, let's just move this off to the side. We don't need it for now. Bring in that cube, and we could get started sculpting on the cube, but I don't want to start on the cube. So we're going to turn this into more of a rigid body, well, not a rigid body, the carapace of the stuff. Of the Paris. So there we go. It's 3 a.m. and you're off. Vartan, thanks for stopping by. Enjoy your rest. Thanks for hanging out at 3 a.m. Christopher Jones, loved working through your character creation course. Thanks for putting it out. Thanks, Chris. I appreciate that. We got a couple videos left to do, so we'll keep working on that, but there we go. The Warrior, you're thinking of starting an animation channel. Really? Do you do animation on your own, or like is that your day job, or are you just like passionate about it? Do it on the free, because doing animation in YouTube is apparently really, really hard to do without doing 3D stuff. Okay, so we have this cube here, and we're gonna turn this into the body. So we'll go ahead, switch there, hit Alt M, which, well, actually I guess it's just M now, and merge that at the center. Great. Then we can go and add a few modifiers. So don't care about the mirror modifier because we're not actually making the legs with this. We're just going to do the body here. So all we need for this one is the skin modifier and the subdivision surface modifier, which is cool. Now we can switch over to vertex select, and we notice that we get this little red dotted line, and that is the root vertex of our skin modifier. We want to make sure that's going to stay somewhere in the center of our model, generally the center of balance for whatever you're trying to create with the skin modifier. So we'll hit Control A, select that vertex, hit Control A, and bring that up, and then we will pop out a vertex in either side. Let me just hide the mushroom real quick. So I will extrude out a vertex over here and grab this vertex again and pull it along. And I just want to select this one back in the middle and mark that as the root, because then we can kind of bring this down, because the Paris's butt does a little bit of like a curve as it shrinks. And then it also comes down a little bit over here. And we could just extrude out another piece and make this one go pretty far up there. And there we go. We kind of have the whole thing of what we're working with. But let's jump into Wireframe here and grab all of these vertices and Control A on the x-axis. Let's see what that does for us. Okay, so that does give us a little bit wider, which is what I was looking for, because the bug itself does have, you know, some very layered stuff. So I want to make sure that that is present there with this edge here, and subdivide that edge. Bring this down a bit. All right, and now I can take that a bit wider on the Y. And there we go. I think that's gonna be okay for a base from what I can see. The back does need to be a bit bigger than the head though. So let's grab these two and just shrink them down a tad bit. All right, that might be as good as we get before we get into sculpting. So you've been pandemic boredom animating. Well done. Way to use your pandemic boredom to the best. What has anybody else done anything interesting over the pandemic? You guys still under lockdown? Are you unlucky enough to live in the US, at which point we're never getting out of lockdown? What have you guys been up to in the last month? Okay, that's pretty good, I guess. North Carolina here, it's getting wild, yeah. You guys are doing better than Florida, right? I think it'd be hard to be doing worse than Florida, but. All right, so there's our Paris body. Yeah, I think the only thing I want to do here is just like. I feel like those should be moved up a bit. There we go. That's fine. way better than Florida. South Carolina, Georgia, and Texas are also really hot spots. Yeah. Yeah. I was looking for, so before the pandemic, I was looking for jobs in Atlanta. And now I am glad. I'm glad I'm not headed to Atlanta. Max, he's talking about hotspots for COVID. That's what he's talking about. Florida. So I used to live in Florida, and Florida is just nuts. Florida man is a thing for a reason, and they have not been caring. Like, I'll straight up talk to my own parents. They're in their 60s, and they're just like, yeah, we do whatever we want. Don't care. We wear a mask occasionally when we go to the supermarket or something, but my mom's like teaching swim lessons, going to randos' houses, teaching their kids to not die in a pool, but like not wearing a mask or just meeting people and whatever. So, yep. But that's basically, that mentality is all of Florida. So, and they haven't really been on lockdown, and it's getting crazy there. All right, I think this is good for a Paris base. So I just want to duplicate this now, and we will just hold on to that. Let's make a new collection here. Always a fan of making backups when possible. And so we can just hide that collection. And so now we only have one to work on, which is cool. All right, and I guess we can go ahead and apply these things. That's not a problem. So now we have our base. And before we actually start sculpting this thing, I want to go ahead and make the legs as well, because there's actually, it's one leg model that just kind of gets moved and adjusted over the rest of the body, except for the front two. So it's got four back legs that are all basically the same, and then two giant front legs that it uses kind of like stabbers and whatever. Thought I removed this song from my song playlist. Okay. All right, so I guess, yeah, we're good now. Let's go ahead and make that body. So let me move this, just move this up a little bit and work on this leg. So we'll add in a plane, and then we'll essentially do the same thing. So just M, merge at center, add modifiers. We're gonna add a skin modifier and a subdivision surface modifier. And then let's look at that from the front. Now Paris's legs essentially do, they have weird joints, I guess. I can't find a picture of like the underneath of them, but what I imagine is that they do something like this, where they come kind of out and down like that, and then they go out and up, and then boom, and then boom, with varying degrees of width and everything. So we go ahead and mark that as the root here, and then drop that down. And they get skinnier. Away from the joints, so we can kind of take that a little bit. That's a creepy looking leg, huh? Okay, so we can, oh. All right, whatever, we'll just leave it on there for now. Move this over on the x-axis a bit, and then we can move this back down. And then we'll just place these. So now we can add a mirror modifier. And because I don't want to mirror it across its own x-axis, we'll do the mirror object and mirror across the base here. Should the back, Eclipse, welcome to the stream, should the back be more fatter? That's redundant, but yes, it should, and it will be once we get into sculpting. I'll go ahead and inflate that back piece a little bit. But it was going to be really hard to just get this, like, this center part here, which is the fattest part of it, in place. So for now, we're just going to go ahead and act like it's going to be just fine. And I think we move the leg like this. That is creepy. Okay, and then we need the very, very large pieces. So we can go ahead and duplicate it again, move it forward on the y-axis. We can then rotate it along the z. And that is so creepy looking. I hate that. I hate this so much because it's a bug and I don't like bugs. You could say they bug me, is what I'm saying. Did I promise I would be entertaining? No. But are you almost guaranteed bad puns every time I stream? Yes. Yes, you are. Okay, so the way the front leg differs, essentially, is that instead of this being less or smaller in the middle, it gets real fat. Like that kind of fat. And then I am imagining that it's not just that part that's fat, but also like the rest of the arm is just thicker because it's going to be used to attack things. That's what I'm picturing in my head. So I don't know if that's going to be accurate or not, but cool. And then when we bring in the mushroom, so like we can, oh, get out of edit mode. Can add a mirror modifier here, mirror across the base, rotate it out on the y-axis. Scale it down just a little bit further. And what this has shown me very quickly is that I did not get the size of the mushroom head right. The mushroom head needs to be significantly larger, but that's okay. It's actually gonna have to take up like the whole section. So we'll get some sculpting done first. And then once we've sculpted it, we will come back and better set the size of the mushroom. But we've got the general shape down, so that's good. All right, so we can hide the mushroom now. Here we go. I think we're good. I'm not quite ready to add the legs or anything, but we can go ahead and get sculpting on this base. So start like we normally do by inflating everything, and then I want to keep the unified strength, unified brush radius the same for all of these things, and I don't want to use any strength or any pressure sensitivity when I am adjusting the radius. Okay, so dynamic topology, we'll change relative detail to brush detail, lower the strength to about a 0.2, and then just kind of, sorry, and then I just want to inflate things. I didn't mean to do that, Clay. We just want to inflate everything at a strength of about 0.2. And then we can come in and smooth it all down so it looks a little bit better. And we get rid of some of those blocky lines caused by the subdivision surface. This kind of looks like a tick, and it's gross. All right, so Paris's body is broken into 4 shell segments. So it's got the neck, which is not really quite a shell segment, but you can kind of define out this area here. Like that. There's shell segment 1. And then shell segment 2 goes a little bit to like right about here. Shell segment 3 is the largest and the fattest, so it's going to go all the way like here. And then we have shell segment 4 and the Paris butt. So I think as long as I get those ridges in there, I can make the rest of it work, because we're going to hide a lot of this stuff with, or a lot of the back will be hidden by the mushrooms. And then the underside of it, you know, there's not a picture of a, I guess I could go with a picture of a tick. Let me see if I can find a picture of a tick belly. Yep, that's horrifying. Okay. Stuff of nightmares, people. Don't Google that. Don't Google tick belly. That is not fun. That is not fun to look at. But here we go. This is essentially a tick belly. There we go, except for it's kind of flat. So now I just need to take this and kind of push it down, pull these sections out a little bit further. And then we'll crease in the areas around the legs where they will actually end up connecting. And then I think this will actually kind of connect to our exterior carapace. I think that's the right word. Quite nicely. All right, and then let's get in here with the scrape brush, and I just want to go ahead and increase the strength here. And I just want to scrape this down so that it kind of gets a little smoother without actually getting flatter. Not smoother. I'm looking for like a flat transition without actually making it flat. Oh, I'm gonna need to switch the elastic to form brush, and we're gonna pull this carapace back a little bit. I think Pokemon are actually horrifying when you start looking at what they would actually look like. They're all cute in the games. Even the insect types are cute. But if you were to, you know, make them real, you would look at it as that's absolutely horrifying. I really am gonna have nightmares about tick underbellies. Okay, so let's go back to Paris, and it is looking like he would have kind of a crease going along his shell, something a bit like that, I think. But we'll go ahead and smooth the transition here. So there is a crease, but it's not going to be really well defined. I think so far that's pretty good. I hate it, which is how I know I'm doing a good job, because it's creeping me out. Okay, so then we have the bug piece here, and it's all fine and good, and we can just like push the bottom of this head up a bit, because Paris's head is a lot more football shaped than spherical. And it's kind of flat, so we can kind of flatten that out. And then get in here with some clay strips and just touch this all up. You need to learn how to sculpt? I got some courses on it. If you want to learn the Blender tools. But sculpting really is just like trying something, getting forms right, hating your work, trying again, and then rinse and repeat until you're satisfied. Okay, and then I'm gonna say like here's the eye section. So get in here with the blob brush and just make an eye. I was gonna use spheres for this, but I feel like for this one, rather than using a sphere with an extra eye, doing something like this will actually be a better route to go. And he's got these giant eyes that, like, the better to see you with, I guess. Here, let's undo that. Let's get rid of the blob entirely. And let's use the grease pencil. So I should be able to see my grease pencils, annotations. Thank you very much. So we're gonna have the mouth here, something like that. The mouth connects to the nose, which will go something like there, and then the eyeball will be somewhere in that general vicinity. So you're just glad you have the tools have come so far. You remember when you went to Blender 2.5 and actually had sculpting. Oh, really? Interesting. Yeah, when I started in Blender, I started in 2.79. So I started Blender like 4 years ago. So, but yeah, I didn't realize there was a time when they like, yeah, we just don't do sculpting here. But I guess that's probably true for a lot of software a long time ago. They just didn't have the 3D capacity to do sculpting, so they probably just polymodeled everything. Okay, if that's where it's going to be, then that means what we need to do is change our stroke from space to anchored. And do something like this. And then we can move it a little bit more accurately with the elastic deform brush. It was all box model or vertex modeling. Ah, that makes sense. You remember a time when when Control Z didn't exist? Dude. I don't want to say you're old. All right, there we go. We have some eyes here, and I can just come in and kind of smooth these out now that they're all roughly the same size geometrically. You're 42, huh? So's my sister. Femi Rex, thanks for subscribing. Appreciate that. Yeah, I'm only 26. And that's weird to think about. All right, so back to the blob brush here, because now that we have made our eyeball, we need to do a couple of things. So we're going to go create the mouth, and we'll push the mouth inward a little bit. Just like that should be totally fine. And then we can grab each side and move it a little bit more vertical, because it's a bug mouth. There we go. Something like that. But then we get to add this cute little button nose right here. And it's not going to turn out cute little button nose real quick. But that should get us the foundation so that now I can do that. Jen Limpecky, thanks for hanging out. Have a good night. Hope you guys don't mind when I shout out your names, your YouTube names in the stream. I just appreciate you guys like calling you by your names. Derp, welcome to the stream. The stream, the sculpt's going okay, I guess. It's my first sculpt in a month. Or I guess technically second, because I did a sculpt before the stream for like 12 minutes. So second sculpt in a month, so it's doing all right. Kind of starting to get the cute Pokemon charm here, as well as the horrifying insect body. So you tell me, Derp, how's it going? I'm liking it. I'm liking it. I think the eyes are just as far apart as they need to be. The nose could be a bit bigger. And the mouth needs to be a bit wider, but... Smokey, you like hearing your name? Okay, cool. Cool. Because I know there, like, some people have different preferences for all of that. And I would just as rather, like, address you guys. I'm so busy learning JavaScript and full stack. Dude, I feel that. I feel that. I was busting my butt to, like, try to get certifications in Java, Spring, and Angular, JavaScript, TypeScript, all that recently. And then a wonderful opportunity happened, which I'm not really going to talk about on the stream, but if you saw it in the Discord, then you'll know. So that wonderful opportunity happened, and then I just said, you know what? I don't actually need this certification. My job was just making me do continuing education because I'm a contractor. I don't need it anymore. So I stopped. Which is part of the reason why I took so long to get back to streaming, because I was just like busy doing that. And I hadn't intended to. Alright, so now Paris also has five dots on his head before we add in the little teeth that we'll have to add in. So we're gonna have one here. Nope, that's too big. Whoa, ho, ho, ho. What just happened? I don't know what just happened. That was weird. All right, let's start with the one on the top of his head. Do something like that. I don't know why. Here, I guess we'll get out of the anchored. It's so nice, but let's do a drag dot instead. We can put this one right here, and then this one right over here, and then that one there. There we go. Don't do that. Yeah. You had a super old Wacom. You bought the small $80 one on Amazon. So now it's worth the money. It absolutely is worth the money. I'm actually, this weekend, going to be filming a video talking about the 2 cheapest tablets that you can buy on Amazon. And, like, reviewing them. I have no idea what to sculpt, but I'll probably sculpt a couple of different Pokemon. Yeah, when it's time for me to upgrade, I will be making sure I get buttons on the next one. Right now, I don't have any buttons on the side of my screen, and the lack of hotkey function is driving me nuts. But it is so much better sculpting on a screen than sculpting on a Wacom tablet. That's for sure. Or like the tablet without a screen is what I meant. Okay, doesn't need to like stick out of the head that much. Should just be a couple of bumps. think we're getting there. I definitely think we're getting there. The last thing to do here is just suit up the mouth a little bit more. And I'll need to make its little teeth. It's weird. You got a coding question. Did you leave it on Discord? Mention it here. See you later. No, you can mention it now. It's fine. If I can't, I'll tell you to repost it in the Discord and talk about it there. If it's, as long as it's not a freaking stupid JavaScript question, or as long as it's not a JavaScript with Internet Explorer 11 question. Freaking hate that, man. I spent probably 10 to 12 hours last week fighting with Internet Explorer and JavaScript. Made me really upset, actually. Did you work on internet tech support through Y2K? Dude, I was 6. Oh. So what was that like though, Smokey? What was it like working tech support for an issue that like most people, like computers just fixed because Microsoft patched it? What was that like? Because I remember being 6 and then like hearing about it later, and I was like, I have no frame of reference for what that means. I think maybe even the mouth should be a bit bigger. It was special. Okay, so now we got to make the teeth. That's fine. Yep. Okay. So I now need to make a tooth piece, and then we're just gonna like duplicate. I guess maybe we'll make an array modifier and then a mirror modifier. All right, so we can move this over here. That's fine. Jump into edit mode real quick. Merge at center. And then really all we need here is a skin and a subdivision surface. And we just need to like extrude it once. So we can drop it down, extrude it once on the x-axis, subdivide the line, mark the back part as the root here. And there we go. We have our tooth piece. Great. So your question is, you're getting a good foundation of JavaScript syntax and how things work conceptually, but now you're learning things like destructuring assignment. What do you mean? I might know what you're talking about. I might not know the terminology. I am not super good with terminology. Even when I was getting my degree, people were like talking about things relevant to the degree. And until they explained it like I was 5, I was like, oh, I know exactly what you're talking about, but I never learned the word for that concept. And even today, I still don't. I think it's like, for what I studied, I think it's pretentious if you know the word, but whatever. How do you apply this to a real project? I know how to make simple stuff like a calculator, but advanced stuff. That syntax-wise, I don't know when to use. Okay, so programming in general, right? Programming in general is just how do we rearrange what I'm working on currently, like what I know. How do I rearrange the syntax of the language that I know to solve the problem that I'm looking for? So one of the things that like really helps with programming is having some real solid, like, I need to achieve this goal. Not I need to build a calculator, not you know, one of the small, I want to build a small game in JavaScript. No, what you need to do is you need to like set out and be like, okay, there is this task that I have that I want to replicate with code, right? If you're doing, like, I think building automation will help you figure out JavaScript the best. So if you were to think about, it might be harder to do in JavaScript than like C# or Java or whatever, but one of the things that I have to do currently for my job is like read a bunch of Excel documents, and then based on that Excel documents, go gather data from somewhere, compile it, and then create a new Excel document or send an email alert or something, whatever, right? And so you take the syntax of everything, you know, like reading from a file and how do we make decisions and decision statements, the for each loop, all of those things, lists, and you combine it all together and you go, okay, how do I take all of this information and solve the problem that I'm trying to solve, and then run through the entire process. And then it's just basically like, if you can think about what you're trying to do as if you're replicating a real world action, figuring out how to do the more advanced stuff conceptually will be a lot easier in any programming language, because you'll know, okay, in this scenario, I need to do this. And so, well, that is an if statement where you're checking for context, and then you know, you move on a little bit further and okay, I have 1,000 of these, I need to parse through them every time. There's a for loop or a while loop or whatever, depending on your coding style, and it's really, you just go from there. So yeah, I guess, you know, like if you've got a good foundation of the syntax and stuff, just try to replicate something that you would do in real life or some actual process without looking at a tutorial, and then figure it out. I hope that helps. Yeah, so like in web dev, right? One of the things I just did, that I literally just did, was I had to load a calendar, and I had to lock all of the holidays, bank holidays, for the last like 10 years, just in case. So I had to lock all the holidays. I had to prevent the calendar from being able to select weekends and holidays. Then I had to auto-generate the 4th Thursday of every month, and then auto-select that in the calendar, right? So that was kind of like the whole task. Build a calendar that auto-selects the 4th calendar, or the 4th Thursday of every month between a certain date range, and then prevent the user from being able to select weekends and bank holidays. And so like that was a thing that I had to do. And you know, you just replicate like step by step, you break that down. How do I do that with web dev? So you need the bank holidays. Well, our backend system had a get method that you could call out to get the list of holidays, bank holidays over the last 10 years or so. And so you could send out an HTTP request, get that information, and then load that into an array, which then you go and compare the dates of the array, and then you just lock down the calendar using that same array, and you just say, hey, disable all of these dates because I don't need them. And then once those dates are there, then you go in and grab what you need to grab for the 4th Thursdays, check that against the dates to make sure that you're not accidentally selecting a holiday, and move on. Yeah. Yeah, like Derpy, once you've gotten to methods in JavaScript, so once you get to functions in JavaScript, you're pretty much done, right? If you know what an array is, if you know if else, for loops, switch cases, all of that, anything past that, once you have functions, is just a rearranging of what you need to do. That's all it is. So you're just going to rearrange that. Like I probably used the for each to over a list more than a few times. I sorted more than a few times. Did an HTTP request because that's what I needed to do. And then I just moved on. But yeah, you're pretty much done. It's really at this point, if you've got the syntax down, you should be focusing on like trying to do actual processes at this point. Sure, no problem. And coding will get easier the more you do it. So if you're like struggling now, don't worry. The more you code, the easier it will get. All right, and then we can add a mirror modifier. Let's just try an array modifier real quick here. I want to do a fixed count of 2 and a relative offset of nothing on the X, but 1 on the Y. -1 on the Y. There we go. Thanks for the advice. No problem. You're trying to be more fluent in creating more fancy landing pages with JavaScript and then get into Node.js as you don't have any backend yet. Dude, fancy landing pages, Bootstrap. Bootstrap, use Bootstrap. That's it. Don't freaking worry about like trying to create fancy JavaScript junk. Don't do that. Use Bootstrap. And it'll create it for you. Yeah. It's all good, Smokey. We were just talking code. I made some teeth. Yeah, don't ever bother with like trying to do your own UIs. That is not worth the time. Bootstrap did it. I wonder if I can. All right, cool. So I'm pretty sure that's it as far as the body is concerned. Now he's got his teeth. We can shade that smooth. It's not going to work. What if we add a subdivision surface modifier to it? Still really doesn't work that well, but it is better than before. So at this point, I suppose what we can do is add the teeth to our model. So we'll just add a Boolean modifier here. Select the teeth, add a union, and then hit apply. And then this object here, we can move this, just call this teeth, and move this into the backups because we no longer need it. So now we can go back into sculpting here. Should have the exact same color. Not sure why it doesn't, but hey, Sai, welcome back, dude. And I'm glad to be back. I'm glad to be back. It was a little bit, took a little bit. Took a month off, rested, recuperated. Read a bunch of light novels. Had a great time, and now I'm ready to get back into the game. Got a lot of recording planned for this weekend. So much recording planned. How have you been? How have you been, Sai? You're alright? You're just working? That's good. That's good. Playing some Pokemon Shield. Oddly relevant for right now. I don't know about you guys, but if I saw this thing coming at me, I would be terrified. What's my favorite Pokemon, and which one do I think might be the most challenging one to sculpt? Favorite Pokemon. That's hard. I've sculpted a few. I sculpted all the original starters and their evolutions. I think I skipped Blastoise, but I got like all the way up to that. So having sculpted those, I think the hardest one to sculpt would probably be one of the ones with like I don't want to say tentacles because it's not necessarily tentacles, but like Rayquaza. Rayquaza I think would be a difficult sculpt because it's all, you know, essentially a Chinese dragon, and then it's got those hard plated armor pieces coming off of it, but I think the tendrils would also make it hard. I think Tangela would also be a pretty hard sculpt to do, but you can get away with doing all of the hair, like all of the tentacles or tendrils that it has coming off its body with just like the skin modifier, so maybe that wouldn't be that hard. But trying to get the like crisp edges for like Groudon and his armor, or you know, Kyogre, I think that would be a little hard to do. But none of the Pokemon in and of themselves are extremely difficult because they're all pretty basic shape stuff, if that makes sense. I don't know. I don't see any of the Pokemon as extremely difficult to sculpt because they're all pretty cartoony and they don't really have a ton of detail. But I think the ones with like hard armor pieces where you just have to jump back and forth, like you're saying, between organic and hard surface, that would be kind of harder. So like Groudon, the cow with the volcanoes on its back from Ruby and Sapphire. I don't remember what his name is. I think Muck would be really hard to sculpt. Not from a like it's going to be technically difficult, but I think in order to get the layers of just gunk from Muck to look right, that's going to take some, I think that would take a lot of work. Camrupt, thank you. Thank you, Sai. I thought it was something Rupt, but I couldn't remember. Okay, I think we're good on this. Let's go back to the mushrooms because I just want to go back to the mushrooms real quick. And we need to adjust these. So very clearly, they're going to kind of rotate forward a little bit on the x-axis. We also need to pull them up out of the shell. And then I need to make the mushroom head a lot bigger. A lot bigger. So we're going to go in here. And then just control numpad plus our way to the base. And then I think maybe one more. Yeah. And then just scale that sucker up. Is this going to turn into a game or just a sculpting exercise? Smokey, for me, this is like just a sculpting exercise. Just get me back into it. I don't... Yeah, I won't be using this in a game, I don't think. Sai, it's not a personal favorite, not at all. I literally Googled Pokemon and went to the Pokemon Pokemon Co's website. And this was one of their like first suggested ones. And I thought, I haven't done an insect. I haven't ever sculpted an insect. So let me try that. And so that's kind of how I chose Paris. And then maybe, I think maybe it should scale down a little bit. And there we go. I think that's probably good there. Dark lighting in a horror game? Yeah. Yeah, like, Paris is kind of cute when they draw it in Pokemon, but, like, realistically, this thing is horrifying when you actually start looking at it. It's not fun looking. All right, and I think it's got to be time to apply here our legs, but I just want to adjust. So we'll grab all of these, change our pivot point to active element, kind of look at this from the side, and rotate that out a bit. And I should probably put in... Should probably create real quick. Let's make a plane. And just extrude out down so we can see it real quick. And then just scale it. And there we go. There's going to be our base that now we can make sure all of these things interact with the floor on. There we go. Now you want to try sculpting a Pokemon in Tim Burton horror style? You should give it a shot, Smokey. Definitely give it a shot. Have you seen some of the artwork of realistic cartoon characters like SpongeBob and Homer? Yes. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely nightmare fuel. And I've seen the realistic Pokemon drawn, and they are always epic looking, but they definitely increase the feel of, yeah, if these things were real, they would be absolutely terrifying. Okay, actually. I want to pull those forward a bit. I don't want to scale this out a bit. I want it to be a pretty, really significant difference here. Can you eat Pokemon? Max asks. Yes is the answer, and they are eaten and hunted and all of that. So, like, in Pokemon Silver and Gold, and there may have been another one, Silver, Gold, and I can't, Pearl, Diamond, I don't know. I don't remember what, but yes. Yes, you absolutely can eat Pokemon. Slowpoke in Pokemon Silver. Thank you, Crystal. Thank you. Pokemon Silver, Gold, and Crystal, Slowpoke tails are illegally hunted by Team Rocket, and they're like a really, really expensive delicacy, but they're apparently delicious. So yeah, Pokemon are eaten just like normal animals. They fight them. It's just a thing in the Pokemon universe. It's really cool. At least I think so. ArcZeo, welcome back to the stream. What do you mean that took a while? You talking about my little sculpt here? That we're just hanging out and having fun sculpting? Telling me I should go faster? Or are you telling me my break took a while? Answer wisely, ArcZeo. Answer wisely. Alright, and I think now it's time we just go ahead. The break. Okay. Yeah, dude, my break took a while. Yeah. I'm back though. Adorno, welcome to the stream. You didn't get here too late. You got here in time to finish the legs. Alright, so we're gonna add, I think we need 3 Boolean modifiers. So we'll just do that real quick. change all of them to union. And then we'll grab the back legs first, middle legs, front legs. And then apply, apply, and apply. Okay, so now we can grab all of these, drop those into the backups, and there we go. Cool. Yeah, I took longer than I thought I would. It's been nearly a month. Nearly a month. I thought I would only take 2 weeks, and then I got busy with work stuff, and then I was depressed a little bit, so I couldn't get back into it. But now I'm back, so we're good now. We're good now. You eat one of the bug Pokemon, you'll get the most psychedelic experience. I think you would... Oh, man. Which bug Pokemon do you think would give you the trippiest experience if you ate it? I mean, Paris is a pretty good option because it's literally a mushroom. But it is what it is. All right, so now we can get into this, and let's get on sculpting for our little thing here. Got to take depression sometimes. Yeah, it happens. It's not great when it happens, but it's life. Oh, we can go ahead and turn off. Let's turn off smooth shading. And there was, I'll be honest, there was definitely a moment where I was like, why am I even doing YouTube anymore? There was definitely a moment when I questioned if I should continue doing it or not. Because making tutorials and setting myself up as a dude who makes tutorials on Blender, it's like, it's fun, but it's not what I want to do, you know? I'd love to be able to do like larger scale animations and build games and stuff for a living. And I was just trying to figure out if that was worth continuing doing or like just stop doing YouTube. So there was some soul searching that needed to be done in there, but ultimately I think I've built something up here, and I enjoy hanging out with you guys on streams and making tutorials and hearing feedback, positive, constructive feedback from it. So I think I'm good. I'm going to continue doing YouTube pretty much forever. That's the goal, at least anyways. I don't want to... I've got a pretty sweet job right now, but I hate having someone to tell me when I have to go to the office and what I should be working on. And I hate that the company that I currently work for doesn't know how to do things when it comes to good technology practices, or they do, or worse, they do know how to do things, but they choose not to because doing it the right way would be far more expensive, and they want it now instead of the right way later, and that it just ends up costing them in the long run. But I hate working for an environment like that. You don't know, but you'd eat the heck out of the shrooms on its back. It might take you over. This Pokemon might cause The Last of Us 2 to be a sequel to Pokemon. There are ice cream Pokemon. I'm not sure if that would be a trippy experience though, but it would be there. So, I am currently an automation developer, so I'll be making a switch soon, but keep that on the DL. But I go back and forth between doing Java web development and C# application development, and I prefer the application development. But unfortunately, that is not what pays the bills for a lot of companies, so I'll be doing more Java web development in the future. You think Butterfree's pollen would mess you up? Dude, you're probably right on that. Venonat? Venonat would be crazy. What is it? Beedrill? Beedrill would straight up murder you. Like, people are like, oh, it's a bee. But Beedrill would literally kill you as a Pokemon. Yeah, Derpy, that's like straight up one of the issues that I've been facing. So I just got finished working on a project and like building a new feature for them. And the business was like, how do we fix all of these problems at once? Because usually when they fix an application or a problem in one of the applications, they have to do a whole bunch of manual regression testing because there are literally no unit tests in a 20,000 line code application, and it's never really been bug free, and it's never really worked like they wanted it to work. Because they built it, what should have taken 2 years, they built in 3 months. But they just reached out and they were like, hey, we want to know how we can possibly prevent ourselves from having to find the same errors in both of these applications, because they're 2 microservice applications. And like, what I told them was essentially like, listen, if you want to be bug free in your microservices, you need to redesign this tool, because right now there's so much duplicated code across both of these like these 2 microservice applications that you're just always going to have duplicate errors. So you need to redesign it and rework on it, but no one's ever going to pay for that. The business is definitely not going to pay for that. They'll just continue to pay somebody to find all the bugs and fix all the bugs, rather than make it easier and readable and faster, because it's not duplicating the same thing over the time. So it's definitely not very dry. It is wet code. It is straight up wet code. And the worst, okay, like, this is what makes me cringe. So the business people who use the tool, they like when I work with them, because I use tools that like help me understand the wet code better. So it's faster for me to solve problems in it than a lot of the other developers, because of those tools. Not because I'm awesome, but I'm totally awesome, but because of those tools. But there's a method in that code that says perform 9 functions. That is the name of the method in that code, perform 9 functions. And if you know anything about coding, you know that methods should have 1 task. That's it, 1 task. If you need to do something else, you should call a different method and take that code and put it elsewhere. But no, perform 9 functions is part of this method, and it's got 1,000+ lines of code in that one method that does 9 different things. And it does those 9 different things multiple times. Like, straight up multiple times. And it's just the worst project I've ever laid eyes on. It's so bad. But it's the worst project I've ever laid eyes on so far, is the direction I think I'm going to keep going. Things will inevitably be worse, I suppose. Yeah, it's a class, technically. Is 1 class. But it's not a service class. It's like that 1 class file itself contains 5,000 or 6,000 lines of code in it. And like 1,000 to 1,500 of it is in that 1 perform 9 functions thing. It's not great. But yeah, that's what I do now, and I like it. It's fun. It's good. But it's not what I want to do. I know somebody earlier asked me which projects I want to work on. Derpy asked me what projects I would want to work on. And the answer to that is, I would love, this is a dumb project idea, I'm going to say it and then someone's going to take it and whatever. But I would love to make a game that essentially digitizes Dungeons and Dragons. So, like, I've seen a lot of 3D map builders out there, and there's a really, really cool one that I saw on Reddit not too long ago. But what I would like to do is, like, as the DM, you get to kind of build all of your maps, obviously, and then you get to set up your enemies. And then, you can add in 4 players, and they can create their own characters, and then they would just, like, turn-based move themselves around the board. And then it's the DM constructing the story and setting up the enemies and setting up all the traps and all of that other stuff. But then the players are just actually playing the game, and they're sitting around a table, and like the ultimate dream for that would be like a pool table size thing, and it's just like designed for this game, and you just get constant updates, and the company's just working on it. If you want the new season, you just pay for the new content, and we just keep working on it. It'll come with a couple of standard campaigns just to like get people into it, and then the DM toolkit would allow you to build up and set up your goblins, and they would have base stats, but you could adjust them and adjust the weapons, and like, oh, we're gonna actually go to a shop. Well, cool, you can set up a shopkeeper, and these are the weapons that the shopkeeper has that you can sell, and you can perform transactions, stuff like that. I think that would be really, really cool. But when I mentioned that to one of the dudes that I work with who plays tabletop games on a regular basis, he's like, I don't know if that would be a great thing, because part of D&D is enjoying the experience with other people and like with your imagination, not with a computer screen. And that's kind of fair, I think. So, whoa, where's my light? Oh, let's get out of the sculpting menu. Let's go to the layout. Okay, so there's Paris. Hour and a half. Nah, the randomness would be easy. Randomness would be easy. It's just a random number generator, because that's just a dice roll. So... yeah, I'm not gonna stop doing this. I'm not gonna stop doing this. In about a year or so, my wife will be done with her degree, and she's actually working on a couple of novels right now. She should be publishing one by the end of August for sure. Coming up soon. We're in the editing stage at the moment. So between her novels and her finishing her degree and going and actually being a writer somewhere, we're probably going to have to move out of Minnesota where we're currently at. And so I was like, well, if I can't work remotely, whatever job I'm working at, then what we're going to try to do is I'm going to try to do YouTube full time, and I'm going to stream on Twitch on a daily basis, and I'm going to work towards creating models for selling and creating games and making more YouTube content on a regular basis. And like, I'm gonna give it a shot, an honest try for a few months, and see how that works out. And if it works out well enough that I think it's sustainable and we can afford to live, then we're gonna keep doing it for sure. But we'll see. I don't plan to stop though, but I don't think I'll be able to go full-time YouTube until either that happens and it's worked out, or until, well, shoot, I guess until I'm probably at like 50,000 subscribers, maybe, when money's coming in a little bit better. So we'll see. I might have to pick up maybe I'll do part-time programming and do YouTube full-time with a part-time programmer job. I don't know, but we'll see. So maybe in about a year, we'll give it a shot, see how we're at everywhere thing. If you made it open source where people can import their own models for D&D characters, a community might grow from it. I see tons of 2D character commissions on Reddit. Yeah, that would be like my thing, right? I don't know if I would want to open it up, but I would love to like reach out to that guy who's been doing his, I don't remember what it's called. I could look it up real quick, but Let me do that. Let me look it up. I'll post it in the chat. You guys should check this out. It's really, really cool. Sparkles the Fabulous. Okay, so I'm going to post the link in the chat. Check this out. It's a Reddit link. It takes you to the actual video of this guy working in his thing. So what I think I would love to do is like reach out to him and be like, okay, cool. So they made all these 3D maps in your world, in your environment. Let's work together so like they could go build the maps in your stuff if they don't want to use our DM toolkit, and then import those maps and then, you know, use our toolkit to set things up. I'm not sure how we would work that out, but I think that would be really, really cool. So check that out. But that's kind of like what I've got in mind. What that guy's working on is kind of what I have in mind. And then also add in the whole like, oh no, we're actually playing a D&D campaign in 3D in this space, moving your characters around. So it would kind of be a combination of that and For the King, which is a procedurally generated tabletop RPG 3-player thing that you can do. So combination of those two, meant to be played in person, is the goal. All right, I think we're good as far as Paris is concerned, actually. I could get in there with a little bit more details on the eye, but I think if I tried that, I would mess it up. And I think the only thing, I guess the toenail. There's like this little spot right in here. Get out of smooth shading. Yeah, so that I saw that and I was like, oh, that guy's doing exactly what I want to do. That would be so cool. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I'm going to be saving money like crazy over the next year just because I know that potentially I'm going to be going YouTube full time and there is not a whole lot of money at the moment coming in from YouTube. I think it's like straight up like it's like $100 a month right now. And considering I'm going to soon be making $7,000 a month, that's a big drop in income. So we'll see. I'll probably be doing programming part-time, but we'll figure it out. I don't like that. I don't like what I did here. So we're going to just leave it. Oh, can I not go back any further? No. Nope. Okay. I can't just undo. Dang it. Smokey, thanks for hanging out, buddy. It's been fun talking. Enjoy your rest of your night. Max, you would want to learn Linux? Why do you want to learn Linux? Libster, dude, long time. How has college been treating you? How have you been surviving in the pandemic? What's been going on, my dude? All right, I think we're good. I think we're good on this Paris. What do you guys think? Do you guys see any spots? Do you guys see any spots that that need to be fixed? Anything that we should kind of like refocus on? Or we think we're good? I think this pretty much is what a realistic Paris would look like. Zoom out a bit. Let's grab this light, change it to a sun. Drop the strength way down, like 100. Maybe like a 1 because of how the sun works. Max, your miner is CS. You keep hearing the things Linux can do. Yeah, Max, here's the thing though. Trust me on this. Here's the thing. Your major is CS, or your miner is CS. Most people use Windows or Mac. That's it. Linux is cool, but if you're gonna be coding and you're gonna develop software and work with databases and stuff, the majority of what you're gonna work with is Windows. Life's nice. Decided after your first year to stay closer to home. Definitely want to catch up with you sometime. Cool, man. So, Lipstar, are you like transferring to a university closer to your house? Are you leaving the swamp? Going back to West Palm? Pokemon looks good. If you had to nitpick, maybe more front pincher nail part. Yeah, I feel that. I just don't think I could get the pincer to be like it is, because when you get to the final, like his next evolution is Parasect evolution, he doesn't have there's no nail anymore. It's just all one big claw. So I guess I don't know what to do with that information. But we'll just say this one is a little bit more along in its evolutionary track. That's what we'll say. Okay. So, thanks, man. I appreciate that. Monster sculpting is really, really fun because the workflow is easier than human sculpting. Plus, with monsters, if it looks wrong, you can just be like, it's a monster. It's supposed to look like that. And people are like, oh, yeah, okay, that's fair. Whereas with a human, they're like, oh, yeah, no, you just suck at sculpting. Or maybe that's just my own mentality here. So, yeah, I think we've got a solid sculpt here. Let's move the pivot point here around the 3D cursor. See where we're at. I like that. Yeah, from this angle that looks pretty cool. See some problems over here on the leg that we could really smooth out and ease up, especially if we were gonna do like if we were gonna retop this or whatever. But I think overall this looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. So, local uni by West Palm Beach is gonna be around family because you plan to move to the Midwest in the near future, so you want to enjoy your time with them. Dude, that's so smart. That's so smart. I don't really miss my family, but I do want to be with them again. Like I've been cool living in the Midwest, and I never want to move back to Florida. But having not seen my family in over a year has been kind of a bummer because I'm too far away. So I would definitely spend the time with your family for sure. Get your degree as cheaply as possible, man. Don't go into debt for your degree. Once you have a degree, no one really cares, as long as you have the skills on your resume to do the work that they want you to do. What do folks use Linux for in the industry? I've seen Linux for servers. Is the only experience with Linux that I've seen. Linux is used for servers. So if you don't plan to do any server work, you're probably fine without it. Nintendo, thank you for subscribing. Appreciate it. Welcome to the Beer Battalion. Welcome to my little party here. Thank you for hanging out. Completely agree. Aliens and monsters are more forgiving on anatomy. You have the back leg feeling perfectly like an insect leg. Yeah, the back legs are great. It's the front leg that I don't really know about, but I think it's fine. It's just the pincer nail on the front I wish I could have gotten a little bit more of. But I think if we were to texture that, and if we were to retop it, it would look a little bit better. I just don't want to continue to play around with it and screw it up, because I got a feeling I'm going to screw it up. So, lamp stack development. I don't know what lamp is. I've seen that in Stack Overflow in the last couple of days, but so. Nintendo, love your work. Thank you very much. What's your tips on growing a channel on film production, like animation and voice acting? You're only 16, but you're already doing these things. Any tips for motivation on animation? Dude, motivation is useless. Don't rely on motivation. Don't rely on motivation. What you need is grit and determination, right? And let me explain. Because some days you're gonna wake up, you're gonna be motivated to work. And then other days you're going to wake up and you're going to be like, everything I do sucks and it's useless and there's no point in me continuing on the path that I'm continuing on. And on those days, you're not going to have any motivation to work. And if you're relying on motivation, you're not going to do it. You're just not going to do it unless, you have grit. If you have grit and determination, then you can have those days where you look at yourself in the mirror and you go, everything I do sucks. There's no point in me continuing on the path that I'm doing. And you just say, screw it. I decided I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it anyway. Right? It's why, I can't work out. That's the same reason I can't work out. Because I'll, get motivated to go work out, and then I'll go work out one day, and then the next day I'll just be like, I worked out yesterday. I'm good for, another 4 months. And then I don't lose weight because of that, because I rely to work out on motivation. But I've determined that I'm going to eat less, and so I've been really, really limiting my eating and what I'm consuming, so I'm losing weight. Even if I don't have the motivation to do it, I've determined that I'm going to do that. But as far as growing your channel for animation on YouTube, there's a couple of things that you should really, really know. And that is YouTube algorithm loves constant uploads, right? At least one upload a week. So if you can't do animations, at least one animation a week, then you're probably not ready to upload to YouTube. You want to be able to do that at least one a week. I know that's really hard to do, but if you start thinking about my videos don't have to be 10 minutes in length, they can be really, really short. They can be I've seen videos do really, really well in under a minute, but that guy uploads a new minute video that gets a lot of views because he was a famous TikToker back in the day. He does that multiple times a week, so he's good to go. But animation and voice acting, you're going to want at least a video a week to grow your channel. And then it's really just thumbnails, tags, and time. And that's it. So thumbnails get you clicks. Tags put your video in the view of people who might want to watch it. And then time, it takes time to build your audience. Right? I got really lucky. I brought on one of my really good friends, and I brought him on in February. And since February, we have grown by almost 3,000 subscribers since February because of what he does, because he actually works in search engine optimization. He works in SEO for a news channel, and he runs their YouTube channel. And he was just like, yeah, I can do those skills. So I brought him into my company, and eventually when we go full time, he will be bringing on full time for sure, to handle the SEO. But if you're not uploading a video a week, then you got to do something. So like a live stream a week counts as an upload. And the more videos you can upload, the faster you can do it, the better YouTube will promote your content, and then you'll find your audience and you'll keep going. So you were using your phone too much, but you set up a standard to do a very strict schedule during work and school. You were able to gain around 165, but you weren't consistent. That's good, dude. 165 is great. It took me a little over a year to meet my requirements for 1,000 subscribers. But that's because I started as a teacher and I like didn't understand thumbnails and clicks and any of that junk. So, but yeah, you gotta be consistent, and like you should never like take a month off like I just did. Don't do that. It ruins everything. I'm gonna have a terrible month this month because I didn't upload anything. So, forgot you're in the Midwest. Yeah, I've been up here for a year now. Best buddies live out in Michigan. In addition to the environments of what you really want in terms of growing up your family. Yeah, for sure. Get out of Florida, Libster. Definitely get out of Florida. Gotta go pick up sushi in a sec, but I'm serious about calling and catching up. Yeah, man, for sure. Reach out. Reach out. I've talked to a bunch of my old students in the last couple of years, so reach out. All right. Yeah, hope that helped, Nintendo. I don't want to discourage you, but there was a really cool video that Jazza just put out. I love Jazza's art channel. There's a really cool video that he just put out on his daily Jazza vlog called Breaking Point. It's like the most recent upload, or one of the most recent uploads there. And he talked about the cycle, and that cycle is why I just, burned out and took a month off, is because I just was like, I don't have the energy to keep doing this. I don't have the determination to keep going. I'm burned out because all I can think about is YouTube and getting the next video out. But I took a month off, and now I'm like, all right, I wanted YouTube to be a full-time job. I wanted that. I still want that. But my career is going in a different direction. So YouTube is, for me, going to just be a very, more of a hobby until I can make it full-time, maybe in about a year, which we discussed a little earlier on the stream. But yeah, dude, do your voice acting sessions, a video release a week each time you improve your animation. That sounds good. Yeah, and really it just takes time. Get your thumbnails down, figure out what your niche is. Like, you need to have a niche, something that's going to set you apart from other people on YouTube. Mine apparently is really in-depth informational tutorial videos, which people hate, and then they don't watch the series of videos. They just watch the final video, like the capstone course, because that's what they really want to know, and then they just tell me that my videos suck. So yeah, it is what it is, but you got to find your niche. Mr. Snips, this is your first time talking since you subscribed. Thank you. Welcome to the conversation. I think it's your first time. Not calling you out, just calling it, hey, thanks for subscribing. So you're gonna start streaming at the end of this year, early next year. You want to do some more practice in 3D before you do. Dude, don't be like, I gotta get more practice in. Friggin' do it on stream. Do it on stream. Like, straight up, most of what I do when I stream with you guys, I'm not showing you like solid quality work. When I'm streaming with you guys, this is really the time that I get to do 3D art. So I'm out here, I'm streaming, hanging out with you guys, and just chilling. I'm not out here showing off. So, oh, you've been here for a while. Your previous Blue Dwarf. Yeah, I remember Blue Dwarf, because I called you Blood Dwarf before I realized, like, oh yeah, that's how you say that. But welcome back, Mr. Schnips. Thanks for subscribing twice. So your Nintendo, your plan is to go to trade school for 2 years as a technician after high school, get a job in military electrical stuff, and basically learn and working at the same time, building up your animation skills. Yeah, dude, that sounds like a solid plan. That sounds like a solid plan. I would say stay away from the military, but that's a personal thing for me. But it sounds like you got a solid plan down. So definitely just keep going. And don't burn yourself out. Don't burn yourself out. easier said than done, but and then more of a do as I say, not as I do type of thing. But all right, I think that is going to be everything we need for today, because I think we've reached what we're gonna do on the stream. We've sculpted. I'm not retopping this. I just wanted to do it, save it. Cool. Just go ahead and start. But you feel like you need more practice. You're not confident in your skills. Yeah, you want to build up confidence, dude. I'm Mr. Snips. Look me in my eyes. I believe in you, and you have enough talent, and you have enough confidence, and you have enough skill. You just need to do it. And really, no one's gonna be like, oh yeah, well, like, I'm here for 3D, and then your 3D art is terrible. And if they are gonna be that way, well, then screw them, because they don't matter. All right? Like, if you want to stream, start streaming. And if your art is bad, that's okay. When I started streaming, my art was trash, like utter trash, right? Like terrible. And I was streaming over on Twitch, and one of the better, more known 3D artists, Rodeska, came into my stream, and he was like, dude, do you want some help? And I was like, yes, I do. Please help me. I'm just a teacher. I didn't go to school for this junk. I like fell into this job and have to learn 3D art. Help me. And while I was streaming, he would come in and he would instruct and he would help me out, and I would learn and I would improve because I was streaming. So don't cut that avenue off for yourself. Like, go out there, and the people will just come and hang out, and you'll get better over time. You'll learn stuff. They'll learn stuff. It's worth it. Go to start early and grow with the community so they can see you improve. But when you feel like trash, you just want to sculpt in the corner. Yeah. I mean, I do get that side of it. I get that side of it when you're just like, oh, I feel like trash. But the truth is, like, how many times have I... Let me show you what I sculpted. I sculpted in 12 minutes today. I'm actually really proud of it. But, for 12 minutes worth of work. Let me show you what this is. So I did this in 12 minutes. It's not great at all, like even a little bit, but I'm actually really proud of it, because even after a month, like, my face proportions still look relatively okay, and they don't suck so much. But if I were to try to find one of the earliest, I don't know if I could find, oh, now I'm gonna find it. Let me show you one of the earliest things I sculpted, and I'll show you just how bad it was, and I more than likely did it on stream. So just keep that in mind. Blender creations, sculptures. Okay. So this isn't quite sculpting. This is something I was working on back in 2017. It's not fantastic. This I sculpted in 2019. It's a helmet. It's terrible. Didn't do this one on stream. I did this one for a video, but it's okay. Let's see what else I got. Look at this face. Look at this face. I did this back in... Let's see when I did this. I did this in 2019. Still not great. Let's go back a little bit. Let's see. Okay, this was not done in 2020. This was done back in 2017. I did this one on stream a while back, probably with my other channel. It's terrible. If we hide the beard. Look at those lips. Look at those cheekbones. Like, this is not an accurate thing at all. But I did this on stream, and at the time, this was the best that I was capable of. At the time, this is the best that I was capable. Look at this stupid helmet with the stupid unicorn horn. That's the best I was capable of, and I did it on stream. And, you know, I just got over it. And the very first, let me show you guys this. This is terrible. Guys, I'm going to show you something I actually got paid for. You're going to be so upset. Look at this crap. I didn't do this on stream. I had a friend that was like, I'm making a board game. I want it to be... I want this to be the map. And like, this is what I did. And it's like all straight up the same tree model, scaled differently, with this terrible looking thing. And I guess if we were to switch to rendered mode, can we do that? This is what I got paid for. This absolute trash right here. Absolute trash. Obviously, there were like textures on this. But like, look, that's a rock. But it's literally the tree. Just different texture on it. I can't remember what I did with the money on that, but it wasn't good. What is this? Oh, this is Thor's hammer. That wasn't good. I actually 3D printed that one. I must have put the 3D print away, but let's see what we got. Do I have... Okay, this was made for a video. Here's the Buster Sword. Cloud's Buster Sword, not very good. Night Nemo, welcome to the stream. We're just going, we sculpted the Pokemon earlier. I really quite like, I like this. This is a lot better, but let me show you what one of my, let me show you one of my earliest Pokemon. Let me see if I have that file. Okay. Oh, you guys want to see this from, it's 2018. There's a live stream. I live streamed this. Poe the Panda. You can see the video. I quite like this model, actually. Okay, here are my Pokemon sculpts. So, here's Bulbasaur, Venusaur, and probably Ivysaur. Look at this. Look at this horrible. Actually, pretty proud of the tree trunk, though. Good morning, Night Nemo. I think the only thing I'm okay with about this is the bulbs on their back. The bulb and the vines for Bulbasaur, the leaves and the tree for Venusaur, and the tree trunk for Ivysaur. But I just like hate the rest of it. Look at this stupid face. I live streamed this. Oh man, I can't believe I live streamed this, guys. This is so bad. Oh, you can find it if you want to. But this was like one of my best works at the time. Thankfully, I improved. So then I did some sculpts for Halloween. Pumpkaboo, Litwick, and a Duskull. Look at this stupid Duskull. But the other two are actually pretty good. I'm okay with them. Pokemon are really good. Who is it that's learning sculpting? feel like it was. Let me go back through this chat here. I feel like Max was learning sculpting. Max, if you're still paying attention, Pokemon is great for learning sculpting because they're very simple shapes and they will help you learn the shapes. So then we went over to Charmander. Did Charmander. Still a dumb face. My dog is in here now messing with the blinds. Fire's not too bad. But that's a bad looking face. I'll show you Charizard. We're going to skip Charmeleon. It's really dumb. Charizard was pretty good. I'm a fan of this. I would be okay 3D printing this. Kind of happy with it overall. But the best Pokemon that I think I ever did, which actually this kind of capped out my skill here. Oh, I'll show you Squirtle first. I mean, we've already done it. Look at this atrocity. It's not great. It's not great. If you're not good at sculpting, you want to be more confident in box modeling. Would be okay to start off doing Pokemon. Yeah. I mean, I think so. Polygon does a lot of Pokemon and makes it look easy, but he also does amazing work. Yeah, dude. I got raided by Polygon once on Twitch. Made my entire week. Made my entire week. So then this was the best Pokemon a while ago that I had ever done. We'll wait for it to load here. And this is Donphan. And this is very, very simple. I learned a different workflow to do this Donphan, and that was kind of the workflow that I used for the Paris. So you can see a huge difference between all of the other stuff that I had done and this, because this Donphan looks really good, and the Charizard was also created using that new workflow. And it really, really helped get the basic shapes in play. In fact, I think I can show you, unless maybe it didn't want to, that doesn't look like it wants to show you anything, because I don't think these things are, yeah. Okay, so it doesn't want to show you these things. It only wants to show you the finished ones, but I was going to show you how I put it together. But so yeah, the Donphan is pretty good, I think. But like my point in all of this, right? My point in all of this is that if you start sculpting, you'll inevitably get better because you'll be doing it more, and the people will come in and they'll just be like, hey, you know, these are the things that you need to try. These are the things that you got to fix. What even is this? I made this in 2018. I don't know what this is. Oh my goodness, look at this. That horrible looking face. My faces were a lot flatter back then. I figured out the angle now. But yeah, that's my point. That's my point overall, is don't feel like you have to get better now before you can start doing it. Just start doing it. And you'll get better over time. Hey, Indy, welcome back, man. Welcome back. So we were just talking Mr. Schnips through a motivation of why he should start streaming instead of waiting to get better first. Should see the first face you ever made. We all start somewhere. We all start somewhere, and then we go stream, and then Rodeska pops in our stream and tells us how to be better. And then we say thank you and get better. Love that guy. All right, so that was enough. I think that was a good way to end the stream. We'll finish up any lines of thought here coming in the chat. So maybe we'll start the same courage as you and start streaming. The sooner the better. Just pulling the trigger is the hardest part. Definitely pulling the trigger is the hardest part. And then you got to keep, if you're going to stream, like, you got to accept the fact that if you're streaming on Twitch, art streamers, just like, people aren't going to pop into your stream for a while. Because of the way streaming is set up, it's not easy to get recognition in the art category. But yeah, I look forward to seeing what you guys create on stream. Definitely try to make sure you save your files, though, so that you can do a progressive look like I just did. Like things that I made that sucked, and now where am I at? I'm making Pokemon a lot more realistic now these days. Still gonna have nightmares about the tick's underbelly. But there we go. And I think this is pretty good overall. I think this nails what a Paris is supposed to look like. So with that said, guys, I appreciate all of you hanging out. Indy, I'm sorry you're popping in just as we're wrapping up here. But it's good to see you again, my friend. All right. I'm going to get out of here, guys. Expect a lot more videos. My break is now officially over. I've got some cool courses planned for Skillshare and stuff. So, yeah, looking forward to seeing you guys back on a regular basis. And for sure, I will be here next Wednesday, probably Monday or Wednesday, because my wife's got class on Tuesdays. So when her class is over and we can get back to streaming on Tuesdays again, we'll stream on Tuesdays again. But for now, it'll be Monday or Wednesday. So I will let you guys know in the Discord and on Twitter. So thanks for popping by. And if you have any comments about what I should sculpt next, let me know in the Discord or on the current poll on the YouTube discussion for next week. So thanks for hanging out, everybody. It's been great, and I will see you guys